Everyone's chasing the same thing. Turn on any podcast, open any app, scroll past any ad, and it all points to the same finish line: happiness. Find it, protect it. You've earned it. Go get it. I'm about to say something that's going to bother a lot of people watching this. I don't chase happiness. I never have. And the chase itself is exactly why so many of you feel hollow right now, even while doing everything the self-help world told you to do to feel good. Sit with that for a second. The thing you've spent years pursuing might be the very thing keeping you stuck. Not because feeling good is evil, because "does this make me happy" has quietly become the easiest excuse ever invented for walking away from anything that requires effort, discomfort, or risk. You skip the gym because it doesn't feel good in the moment. You bail on the relationship the second it gets hard, because hard doesn't feel like love is supposed to feel. You drop the class, ditch the goal, abandon the plan, all in the name of a feeling that was never built to last past breakfast. And now you're standing in a pile of things you quit, wondering why none of it added up to anything. It didn't add up because you were optimizing for the wrong output the entire time. Mile 6, no joy anywhere in sight. I was out running early this morning, still dark, cold enough to see my breath, a knee that's been complaining since the second mile, and a calf that's been tightening for 3 days straight. None of it felt good. Not one step. My mind kept building the case in real time. This isn't fun. This hurts. Nobody's making you do this. Why keep going? That question, why keep going when nothing about it feels good, is the line that splits people into two groups. People who need a feeling to justify the effort, and people who understand the feeling was never the point in the first place. I finished the run. Not because some wave of joy hit me around mile 7. Because doing the hard thing when it's uncomfortable isn't something I'm working toward becoming. It's already who I decided to be. A long time ago, in exactly the kind of morning that offers nothing pleasant in return. Happiness is weather, not a foundation sames. Here's the part nobody wants to hear about happiness. It's not a destination. It's weather. It rolls in. It feels warm for a while. It rolls back out again. You cannot build a life on top of something that shifts with your sleep, your blood sugar, a random comment from a stranger, or the news you happen to scroll past this morning. If your compass is a feeling that changes hourly, you will never hold a direction for more than a day. You'll spend your whole life chasing the next warm patch of weather instead of building anything that survives a storm. I remember being genuinely content at my lowest point, comfortable, undisciplined, going absolutely nowhere, and still, in the shallow, chemical sense of the word, happy. Because I wasn't demanding anything of myself. I was eating whatever I wanted, sleeping whenever I wanted, dodging every hard conversation and every hard rep, and my brain rewarded every single one of those choices with a little hit of good feeling, because that's its job. Not to make you better, to make you feel safe in this exact moment, regardless of the cost 20 years down the line. That's the trade nobody explains to you early enough. Your brain doesn't pay you in good feelings for doing what's right. It pays you for doing what's safe. And safe is almost never the same thing as right. Safe is the job that's slowly hollowing you out, kept because the paycheck lands on time. Safe is the relationship that stopped growing years ago, kept because being alone sounds scarier than being unfulfilled. Safe is never raising your hand, never entering the arena, never putting yourself anywhere you might visibly fail. Left unchecked, your own mind will keep you comfortable and average for the rest of your life, filling your days with a low, steady hum of "this is fine," while everything you are actually capable of quietly locks itself away. The night the mirror stopped lying mine. There was a night I stood in front of a mirror and felt something that had nothing to do with happiness. Disgust, a hard, specific fury, at a man who kept trading his future for the momentary comfort of not trying. And that disgust, uncomfortable as it was, told me more truth in 30 seconds than years of feeling fine ever had. Happiness had been quietly whispering that I was okay. Disgust looked me dead in the eye and said I was wasting myself. Disgust was the accurate read. I started writing on that mirror. Not affirmations, accusations. You quit everything you start. You've never finished anything hard. You're scared of your own potential. Every morning I stood there and read it, and every single time, it felt terrible. There was no rush of good feeling waiting for me on the other side of that ritual. There was only a cold, unavoidable look at reality. And that confrontation, not one single happy moment, is what actually rebuilt my life from the ground up. What to chase instead? If happiness isn't the goal, what is? The answer most people have never even considered. Earned respect for the person staring back at them in the mirror. Not curated self-esteem. Not a caption under a photo. The specific, evidence-based respect that only comes from watching yourself choose the hard thing, over and over, across enough time that it stops being a fluke and starts being a pattern. That's an entirely different currency than happiness. You can buy a cheap version of happiness with almost anything: a purchase, a snack, an hour of avoidance. Respect has exactly one price, and it's always paid in discomfort. I think about the hardest stretch of physical and mental strain I've ever put myself through, the kind where your own body is quietly begging you to stop, and every rational voice around you agrees it would be reasonable to. I didn't come out the other side of that feeling happy. I came out having met a version of myself I didn't know existed, forged entirely in the specific decision to keep moving, when stopping would have been completely understandable. If happiness had been steering that decision, I would have stopped at the first real wall and told myself I'd simply found a different path that suited me better. Instead, I found out what was actually on the other side of the wall, because the mission mattered more than how I felt while pursuing it. The word your brain hides behind release. Ask yourself honestly, what have you walked away from because it stopped feeling good? What discipline did you drop the moment it got uncomfortable? How many stronger, sharper, more capable versions of you are sitting in a graveyard of things you quit purely because quitting felt like relief? I already know what your mind is going to say back to that. It's going to reach for the word healthy. Balance matters. You can't just grind constantly. That's not healthy. Notice something about that word. Your brain deploys it almost exclusively at the exact moment things start getting hard. It dresses comfort up in medical language so you'll listen to it without question. I'm not telling you to ignore your actual well-being. I'm telling you to ask which version of you is defining the word in that moment. The version chasing growth uses healthy to mean sustainable effort towards something that matters. The version chasing comfort uses the exact same word to mean go sit back down. Deep into the wall, there's a particular place you reach when you've pushed far enough past your assumed limits that the old vocabulary stops applying entirely. It isn't joy, it isn't satisfaction. It's closer to a direct confrontation with the actual floor of what you're made of, and the discovery that the floor was never where your mind told you it was. Every step of the way, some part of you will insist you've hit the real limit. It insisted at the first wall. It insisted again, louder, at the second one. It's always convinced it's found the true edge, and it's almost always wrong. Override it enough times and you stop asking what would make me happy right now, and start asking the only question actually worth organizing a life around. What am I capable of? That question doesn't lead anywhere comfortable. It leads somewhere dark, somewhere your carefully managed, friction-free life has never let you go. And in that place, you meet a version of yourself that most people never do, because most people never travel far enough into the discomfort to find him. Where this actually shows up in your life. Let's make this concrete, because it's easy to nod along in the abstract and change nothing in practice. You're in a job that's fine, decent people, manageable hours, nothing dramatically wrong. And you're bored out of your mind, quietly aware you're capable of more, except more means risk, more means possible failure in front of people who'd notice. Your brain runs the calculation, fine plus comfortable beats uncertain plus exposed, and you stay, not because it's right, but because leaving doesn't feel good. Or you're in a relationship that's stable enough that you've stopped naming the thing that's actually bothering you, because naming it risks the peace you've gotten used to. So you swallow it, month after month, and call the silence harmony. Or there's a version of your body you look away from quickly in the mirror each morning, because looking too long hurts more than looking away does, and your brain hands you a soft, socially acceptable phrase, just accept yourself as you are, that quietly becomes permission to stop trying at all. In every one of those situations, the feeling of being okay is the exact tool keeping you exactly where you are. Not cruelty, not fear, just comfort, dressed up as wisdom, whispering that good enough is good enough. It isn't. It's the most dangerous phrase available to you, because it sounds like peace and functions like a cage. The only feeling that lasts what I actually chase is the quiet that shows up after the hard thing is finished. Never the good feeling during it, because there usually isn't one. Just the plain, unglamorous knowledge that I did the thing I said I'd do, at the hour nobody was watching, while every signal in my body was arguing for the opposite. That knowledge compounds. It doesn't spike and vanish the way happiness does. Over enough mornings, it builds into something happiness structurally cannot produce. An identity that doesn't depend on conditions, that doesn't collapse the first time the weather turns. You start to know who you are, not because you feel good today, but because you have a long, specific record proving it, stacked up one uncomfortable choice at a time. Tonight, one sentence pause. Sit down tonight and finish this sentence honestly. What have I been avoiding purely because it wouldn't feel good? The conversation you've been dodging. The early mornings you keep negotiating away. The career shift you talk yourself out of every single time. The honest look at your own body you keep cutting short. Write it down. Say it out loud once. Then tomorrow, go do it. Not because it's going to feel good, because it won't. At least not while you're in it. Do it because the person waiting for you on the other side of that discomfort is worth infinitely more than every comfortable feeling you've collected so far. Stop chasing happy. Start chasing hard. The hard is where you actually find out who you are.